Hey everyone, this is Ed from Villegas Firms. Today I want to talk about a very special message I found online. So I'm going to give a special shout out to somebody that is one of our followers, and he happens to be XRP the Future. So hey, go ahead and give him a like. And he's a young guy, I believe. He's been pushing a lot of good content, and he's been calling into question in the media certain comments, getting people to talk about their opinions related to XRP and the new IPO potential, whatever's going on with Ripple Labs. So I want to talk to you guys about an initial public offering, and that happens to be an offering where a privately held company is anticipating, the growth of, something a C corporation would have. So what is a C corp? A C corp is a corporation that every publicly traded, now publicly traded company has to pretty much abide and go by as far as structure. So if you're thinking of going public, for example, something like Ripple Labs, they have to be structured in a certain way. So a C corporation, it meets the criteria, and there has to be at least a minimum of 5 years according to the SEC rules. So if Ripple wants to go ahead and go public, before we talk about what is going to be the good and the bad of them going public relative to the value of XRP, it's important to know what an IPO is. So again, Ripple has a lot of projects, and I'm sure that XRP was just one of them. And at least this is in terms of the scope of the company. So if Ripple is a C corp, and if they have at least 5 years of business, and they have at least $10 million worth of assets in their books, this means that they can submit certain forms to the SEC, and which pretty much makes them subordinate to two acts, which is one of them 1934 Act and 1933 Act. Their Securities Act made, and where every publicly traded every publicly traded company has to abide by. So if the IPO does go through, I'm sure that they will sell out. I'm sure that they will catch the attention of the other side of the world that doesn't know who Ripple is. And this includes institutions, this includes companies that are domestic, international, hedge funds, hedge fund managers, investment specialists, everybody, the whole world. So I think it's a very clever thing for Ripple to actually consider going public, because a lot of people are saying that this may or may not affect the price of XRP. And as I mentioned in that comment, there's both XRP and Ripple. They're not mutually exclusive. So the value of it that Ripple has is very separate and independent from what XRP actually has and provides. XRP is a decentralized platform, and it pretty much provides value, right, instantly, just like you would in a text message or an email. So Ripple is a separate company. It's a whole separate company, and it happens to be up in NorCal and here in the US. So XRP is a product, it's a solution. So don't get that confused, for those of you that don't already know that. And I want to talk to you guys that Ripple might have other affiliations. And think about it, if you're Ripple, if you're Brad Garlinghouse, how many more companies haven't approached you already? You get me? So you got to think about that as well. If you have a brilliant idea, think about a celebrity, think about somebody like Brad. I'm sure he has a lot of more insight than what the media knows or what you and I know. So again, this is not an insider group either, but I do encourage you guys to pay attention and to look at this investment from an objective point of view. Ripple has essentially nothing to do with the future value that we anticipate for XRP. So XRP is self-sustainable, and this is why it can be a bridge asset. This is why it can be, a global liquidity solution. So again, guys, I hope that helps you out. And if you do file, if let's say Ripple does actually go public, then that means that again they abide by 1933 Act, 1934, and other regulation, which is is eventually going to turn into a cost for Ripple. And what I encourage you to do is look into the company, look into their mission statements, look into audited financial statements, look into things that the other XRP community is probably unaware of. So if let's just say Ripple does become, SEC compliant, and they file, and they ring that bell, and the Ripple stock goes up. So what happens is that they're abiding by certain more regulation. And Not only that, you can also you can find the information in databases such as Edgar. So for those of you that know Edgar, congratulations. You can go online on the SEC.gov website and you can actually find lawsuits. You can find information related to the products, to every single thing that's going on in the company with board of directors, management. So that's if Ripple does go public, just like Apple, just like Coca-Cola, Adidas stock, or whatever your favorite stock. So again, guys, right now, Ripple doesn't have to report to a specific secondary exchange market because they're private. They're privately owned. But if this initiative does go, then it can mean that it can trigger, and it's all a contribution. I wouldn't necessarily buy the idea that XRP is going to go to the moon because Ripple's going public. That's just our opinion. But nonetheless, go ahead and give XRP Future a like and follow. And thank you guys for watching. You can leave comments down below and have a great day.